tests. You could use them on your homework and your tests. So creating these really nice notes is going to be good for your homework. All right, first thing we're going to do is define what is an expression.
Expressing your feelings. Letting the world know what you think about.
All right, so an expression, sometimes you hear like showing your emotions is expressing your emotions, it's showing your emotions. When we talk about an expression, we're just talking about a math phrase. What does it say behind you, Mr. Kwan, underneath expressions? What is it? Math phrase, and there's no equal sign. Thank you. Okay, so it's just part of the math. It's not a full sentence. It's just a phrase. All right, and then we're going to make sure we know that word evaluate. That word evaluate we use a lot in the real world. Like if you're selling your house, sometimes you have to have an evaluation done. What would an evaluation on a house tell you?
The cost.
The costs are like how much it's worth, right? Okay, so even though I bought my house for so much, maybe I added to it or I upgraded things, so now when it gets evaluated, it's more. Or maybe I let it kind of run down and I didn't really update anything, and maybe the value is now lower. But evaluate means to find the value. We have that prefix or that word value in the middle, or to find the answer. All right, we're going to do a couple more complex problems today. So if after seeing our warm-ups, you're like, ooh, still not quite there, we're going to break these problems down a little bit. We have 3 examples. Okay, when I do examples, I like to just start with numbering, and then I know it's an example, because sometimes we might go back to our things. If you want to write an example above, you can. Checking my email. Email. Thanks. But you're right. Thank you. Okay. No, you keep me accountable. You do you. Good. All right, in this one we're going to have 5 plus.
Wait, does that say D?
What? This is a 1, for example number 1.
Oh, 1 with a little paragraph.
Yeah. So then I know that that 1 isn't part of the 5, separate. 5 plus, and then we're going to do a little division line here. By little, I mean a long one.
Oh, I hate these things.
Now on the top, we're going to do 3 minus 9 plus 10. On the bottom, we have a 2. And then off to the side, we have a times 6. Just because I like to torture you. I woke up this morning and I was like, how can I make Joel just the worst version of himself? And I came up with this math problem.
You did this for no reason.
Thought it would be funny.
You have heard this.
All right, so in this problem, as we think about germ DOS, we're going to start at that top of germ DOS. Those of you that were here last week, you have this foldable. If you don't have this, we'll get you one in just a moment. So we're going to start with G. Do we have any grouping symbols? Yeah, we do in this case. What is our grouping symbol? Good, we have that long division line. And is there more than just one number on top and one number on bottom?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So we need to think about that top as a grouping symbol. So we're going to think of that 3 minus 9 plus 10. We're going to think about those parentheses. They weren't originally there. We need to figure that out. So,
Spawn them there. I'm sure they were there. Put them there.
so I'm going to just write just that part. 3 minus 9 plus 10. Just what's on the top part. So in that phrase there, what operations are we dealing with?
The subtraction and adding.
Good, subtraction and adding. So I'm going to think back when I have adding and subtracting. Which one do I do first? Good, it's left to right. It's not always adding, it's not always subtracting, it's left to right. So because I'm going left to right, which one comes first here? The 3 minus 9.
Smart.
Good. So if I'm starting at 3 and I need to take away 9, I have to go 9 backwards. After I take 3 steps back, I end up at 0 and I need to keep going back. So it's going to be a negative number. Negative what?
Negative
6. Good.
I remember doing this now. It's coming back to me.
So you have negative 6 plus 10. We haven't done that plus 10 yet, so I like to drop that down. So if I start at negative 6, now I'm going to jump forward 10. I'm going to go towards the positives.
Negative 4.
So close, that would only be 2 in front of negative 6.
It's 4.
Positive 4. Do I have more negatives or more positives?
More positive.
More positives. So because I have more positives, we'll end up on the positive side, and we'll end up at 4. Positive 4. That's why we're doing it.
Smart.
Setting up our basics here.
I remember doing this now. It's all coming back to me.
All right, so this was all so far our grouping. If you want to go back and label that as grouping, you can. If you're like, what the heck, how did I know what to do? That was our grouping.
It's because we remember it from 8th grade. The 4 times.
So I'm going to go back to my original problem. I'm going to rewrite the parts I know now. I have 5 plus, I have that division line, but now on top of that division line, I just have
A new number.
4. On the bottom, we have 2 times 6. So there's kind of 2 ways to do this. Whatever works best for you is how you want to do it. Some people, they like to go back to their germ DOS, and they work their way through those letters. So now, do I have any grouping symbols? No, because I just have a number on top and a number on bottom, so now this is division. I have E and R. Do I have any exponents or roots? Nope. So now I'm going to go to, do I have any M and D? Do I have any multiply and divide?
Yes.
Yeah. And I need to work my way left to right. So in this problem, am I going to multiply first or divide? Good. Divide comes first. So what is 4 divided by 2? 2. Good.
Wait. On the first problem, where'd the 2 go? Or is it just like, it's down?
It went right here. That's where this 2 went.
So you have to divide, and the dividing takes half of the stuff off.
So we just did this top part here, and we switched that out for the 4.
The same problem?
Yeah, we're still on the same
Oh,
problem.
I'm
We're not done yet. That's okay. It's a multi-step problem. It takes us a while.
Yeah, look at
All right, so another way to think about it is now we could go back to G and think, do I have any grouping symbols? Do I have any exponents? Do I have any multiplying and dividing? What I like to do personally is I like to see, what do I have? I have adding and I have multiplying. What
Multiply
comes
first.
first?
6 times 2.
Multiplying. 6 times 2 is 12. Again, if you want to notate this, this is multiply.
16.
Step by step.
Okay, and then we're left with only one thing left to do. 5 plus 12 is
Just add it. So simple.
17.
So simple.
How are we feeling?
Amazing.
It's coming back to us a little bit?
I can't hold that to myself.
I remember this from last year when I did this.
Good. Something you're going to find out about me, I always box my answers. I do that in my notes because it's a habit. When I was in 6th grade math, my 6th grade math teacher, Miss Penny, would count things wrong if you did not box them, even if you had the right answer. So, I always box my answers. It's not something you have to do.
That's stupid.
It's just something I got in the habit of doing because otherwise I'd get the problem wrong, even if I had it right.
Well, that's dumb.
Very frustrating. All right, we're going to go back to 2 really quick vocabulary words. Variable.
Variable.
Lots of you knew what variable was when we talked about that multiplying and why we don't like that X multiplication symbol. Does anyone remember what a variable is?
Ooh, like the letters?
A letter, yeah. It's a letter that represents a number.
That you can use to multiply it next to another number.
Whoa.
Or divide, or add, or subtract.
Exactly. You can't just keep writing on me. It's not cool.
A letter that represents a number.
Can I just write a letter that's a number?
Sure. That's what makes sense to you. So it's something that looks like a letter, but when we really look deep down at it, we're like, you're just a number. Silly you.
You're a stinking little number.
Exactly. You could create a whole movie franchise based on it.
Yeah.
Like a spies in disguise kind of situation.
Slide. A slide. Actually,
All right, big thing here is it might change based on the situation.
Alright, situation, yeah.
All right, that brings us to example 2. For example 2, you're going to want a chunk of some lines here. So if you're running out, if you're down to like 3 or 4 lines, maybe go to the next page. We have 3 examples we're doing today, so I'm going to have to go to the next page anyways. Depending on how you like your notes, you might not. All right, number 2, we have A, B to the 2nd power plus 5 times the quantity of. When I say quantity of, what is a quantity?
I don't know.
Answer to a problem.
An answer to a problem?
Sure.
Kind of like a separate amount, yeah. Yeah. A quantity is an amount, so I need to show that this amount is separate. So when I say times the quantity of, I want to use those parentheses. A minus 3. Okay, in this problem, that's not the whole problem yet. We have to evaluate it. We have to find the answer. We can't find the answer quite yet. We know that A is equal to 2.
Oh, it's these type of problems. These are the easiest.
And B equals 4.
These are the easiest to do.
All right, so remember as we look at this problem, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, letters, numbers, what's happening? But then we look at this A and we're like, you look sus. This A is not an A. What is this A really?
It's a 2.
It's a 2.
And then you multiply it to the 4. It's a B.
When I look at this B, again, is that B really a B?
No.
No. What is that B?
It's a 4 that you multiply.
That B is really a 4. So it told us that in the problem. B is really 4. Oh, now we have another A. What is this A actually? Oh, it's back to a 2. Good. Not switching there.
But these are the easiest ones to honestly. It just gives you the answer. It's like a little freebie.
All right, so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to replace. We're going to substitute in our amounts. So instead of A, what number could I put in for A?
2.
Good. A is really a 2. So I'm going to put 2. Now, A and B are touching. They're right next to each other.
So you multiply it.
Good. When they're touching, that means multiply. So 2 times
4.
B is 4 to the second power.
Oh, you didn't just put it in? We just put it in.
Nope. First thing we need to do is replace everything. Plus 5 times, because then you're going to see why in just a moment. What is our A? 2 minus 3. All right, if you're somebody who you're looking at this and you're like, I got this, go ahead and work ahead, but then double check, stop and pause your work as you work to make sure you got it right. So now we're going to use our order of operations. What's the first thing we're going to do here?
No, the parentheses.
G, good. First step is G, grouping symbols. Do I have any grouping symbols?
Parentheses
Yeah, parentheses. 2 minus 3.
equals 1.
So I have 2 times 4 squared plus 5, parenthesis. And if you're not sure, it's okay to use a calculator. Desmos is on your computer. It looks like this. It says 327. Okay, it's on your computer. I'm using my phone because it's a lot to toggle between my computer and this screen. It makes it really small. 2 minus 3, we get -1. Good. We're doing a small minus a big. So when we do small minus big, we usually get negatives.
That was obvious. Wait, so can we use calculators in the test?
Hmm?
Can we use search box?
If it's open, no, we can use calculator.
All right, next up, what's the next thing I need to do? Do I have any more grouping symbols?
No.
No.
You have to do it.
I mean, I have parentheses, but is there anything I can do in those parentheses?
No.
No. Okay, so after grouping symbols, we're going to go to ER. Do I have any exponents or roots?
Exponent.
Good, we have exponents. We have that 4 squared. So what does 4 squared tell me to do?
8.
What does it tell me to do?
Oh, multiply the 4.
4 times what?
4.
4.
Gives you 16.
Okay, again, if you need a calculator, that's fine. 4 times 4,
16.
16. So we have 2 times 16 plus 5, parenthesis, -1. I think he's in our last class. All right. Now, do I have any grouping symbols?
No.
I mean, kind of, but is there anything I can do in them?
No.
Nope. Do I have any exponents or roots?
No.
Nope. Any multiplying or dividing?
Yes.
Yes. In multiplying and dividing, we have to work our way
Left to right.
left to right. So I'm going to start with 2 times 16.
36.
Whoa, 32.
Oh, 32, my bad.
That's okay.
Oops, sorry.
Plus 5 times, parenthesis, -1. What does that mean when 5 in parenthesis -1?
Multiply.
Good, multiply. If you need to sneak in a little time sign there, sneak in a time sign.
Maybe -5.
The heckers? That's cheating.
Running out of space. If you need to, rewrite your problem up here off to the side and keep going.
That's cheating.
What's cheating?
Writing a time sign there?
Yeah.
What? No, that's just a reminder for myself to remember it's multiply. So if I have adding and multiplication, which one should I do first?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. 5 times -1. Does anyone remember a positive times a negative is a negative, so -5. Okay, and again, if you want to use your calculator, you can. If I have a positive and a negative, what am I really going to do with those in my head?
Can I add them?
really we subtract them because we're going in opposite directions. Good. Different signs you subtract, keep the sign of the larger. So 32 minus 5 is
Positive 27.
27, and we have more positive. So our final answer is 27.
That was a lot of work for one question.
So much work for one question. All right, we're going to do one more problem, so I'm going to flip my page, so make sure you got all your work here that you need. We have one more problem to do, and then we have what's called a quick check.
What's that?
It's a quick check.
You just quickly check us?
An assignment, but it's quick. All right, I'm going to switch my page. You guys are good? Okay. All right, this is example number 3, last one for today, for our notes. You're going to be like, why the heck do we have 3 examples? After I write this one down, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's why. Got it.
Because we have to.
Because we have to. Miss Morrell said so.
Or else we'll,
Just kidding.
or else
All right.